So today we're here with Elan Mehler, and we're going to talk to him about the new partnership that Acoustic Sounds and Newvelle Records are going to have. And we're really excited about that. And he's going to explain a little bit about his background and the background of his label and how this all came to be, how we're working together and how long we've known each other. And we're going to get Elan to explain everything. So welcome to our YouTube channel.
Thanks. Good to be here. Great to be here. Yeah, I mean, I can share a little background about the label. I started this label in 2015. I was living in Paris at the time, and I started with my partner, Jean-Christophe Morisseau. We had just met, and we sort of connected on a shared love of the music, but also like his background was in IT, and he really he had this burning desire to make something real in the world, you know. And to me, that's really resonant with vinyl, and as the corollary to all this streaming music, this music that's everywhere, you know, how to make something real and beautiful. So we got started, and I had the idea to start sort of a subscription label. That was sort of where I was coming from, and I had put together a little bit of a business plan. It was kind of a joke. At the time, I didn't think it was a joke, but it was like a 2-page Word document. And Jean-Christophe has a business background, and he's very polite about it. You know, he took a look at my my business plan, and he was like, "Oh yeah, let's work on this together." And so we built a real honest to goodness business plan. And he sort of brought his background. His wife is in the luxury business in France, and so he brought it into. He was like, "Where we want to head is sort of what if we cut absolutely no corners? We did everything to the highest possible level." So I'm a jazz pianist, so that's where my heart is. And so I was like, let's go into the studio. The first person I called was my old professor, Frank Kimbrough, who's one of the great jazz pianists, and he's sort of like a musician's musician. He did our very first record for our first season box sets. And then our second record was actually Jack DeJohnette, the greatest jazz drummer, or one of the greatest jazz drummers of all time, which is faint praise, believe it or not, for Jack. But he's also an amazing pianist. And the first concert I ever heard, jazz concert I ever heard, was Jack DeJohnette playing with Dave Holland and John Abercrombie in Boston. And he played some piano. And that was in my mind somehow. And I reached out to him through his website. I didn't know him. And I was like, hey, we're putting together this thing, and I'd like you to make a piano record. So Jack came and did this solo piano record, his only solo piano record he's ever done. And that sort of once that happened, it got a lot of press when we released that box, and we got a full page in the New York Times. And so that launched in 2016. I had that, I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing, but I have the box here. So initially we would release as these box sets. You would get a box at the beginning when you bought the thing, and you get 6 records would be sent in, and none of this music was available digitally. And we did one box every year. So that was sort of the position, and then it sort of expanded. It sort of grew and changed as we went. The original plan was that we weren't going to release anything digitally. Now we release most of our music digitally as well. The reasoning for that is that we had a deal with the artists where I said, okay, hey, we'll do a vinyl deal. We'll put out the vinyl. You keep the digital rights. We'll pay the best studio, do everything top notch. And you own all your own rights. We're just going to sell the vinyl. Plus we pay you up front, which is this is all unheard of in the jazz world. So the question was, could we make that work? And that was sort of working, but I noticed that the musicians weren't releasing the music widely. It was just in the box set. And because 2 years down the road, they're jazz musicians, they're onto something else. Maybe they don't have their own business. There's not another label they can go to. So the music was sort of falling, it wasn't getting heard as widely as I just thought it deserved to. So I went back to them and I said, okay, what if we did a 50-50 split on the digital? So that's where we are now. Is we release collections, and we started working with QRP for pressing on our 4th season and our 5th season. In a New Orleans series, it's been, we took a real jump in quality when that happened, and we got to press in these really beautiful clear vinyl. I'll show off some of those once we started working with you.
Were they all on clear vinyl?
Yeah, they were. It was always the concept to do it on clear vinyl. The MPO was pressing our initial couple of seasons in France. They did clear vinyl, but it was more of like a frosted look, which is cool, but not as cool.
So that was 2018. We started pressing for you, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I remember when Newvelle first came out. I mean, there was buzz all over the place. I was hearing all about it. You know, like this cool little label doing this great jazz, very unique subscription type based model. And then y'all approached us. I was like, wow, that's cool. So I can learn more about it now and listen to it and press their records. And so you're a jazz piano player. I mean, when did you start playing?
Yeah, I've been playing all my life. I was in New York. I grew up outside of Boston, moved to New York for college. I went to NYU for a jazz piano degree, which exists. That's a thing. You can get a jazz piano degree at NYU. Go figure. That's where I met Frank Kimbrough. And then I was playing, actually, I got a gig, sort of jumping forward a couple of years. I got a gig at a Swiss hotel in the Alps. And I used to go there every year. I would go and spend a month playing like 4 sets a night with a trio, solo, and duo. And then I got signed. There was this DJ Giles Peterson, who was like sort of celebrity British DJ. He was there one night. He heard me playing piano. This is like 2006. And he came up to me afterwards. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, you're pretty good. You know." He was like, "I'd like to meet with you." And he gave me his card. And it was my last night there. And I was like, "Oh, whatever," you know. Like, and I just sort of forgot about it. And then a couple months later, his business partner reached out and was like, "Giles is coming to New York to do some gig. He'd like to meet with you." And then I looked him up and I was like, "Oh, holy shit!" Like, so he was just starting this record label called Brownswood Records, and I think which is still going strong. It's its 20-year anniversary, and I think I was the second artist signed to Brownswood. So that was wild. Like, and I was playing really small gigs then, and then I get a record with Brownswood. That's how I hooked up with Mark Rosselli, our engineer. And then we would play, like, you know, he's like, "Oh, come and do something live on the BBC." He's like, we did our record release at the Queen Elizabeth Hall. It was like, did like a couple of like European tours, flying every day. You know, it was just like 0 to 6.
It was your last night.
Yeah.
For the what a
yeah.
Funny how things happen. Yeah, well, that's great. So. And I mean, you teach piano now, right? Because a lot of times
I still do some teaching. I'm still playing a lot. They're doing the thing. I have a record coming out tomorrow. So
you better go look at your calendar, man.
Yeah, I don't know when this will launch.
You'd hate to remember 2 days from now that it was coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, so that'll be out when this airs. That's really exciting. Do that record. It was a 7-piece band with like a bunch of my heroes. So we're putting that out on Newvelle. I'm really excited to get this music more widely listened to. I mean, I think we're making some pretty incredibly unique records here, and I'm really like the new in Newvelle is on purpose. Like, I really believe in improvised music as a living art form, and like to get new artists in the studio and recording and out in the best possible package means a lot to me. So like working with Acoustic and QRP and working with you, Chad, is like, you know, it's really like it's a no-brainer for us, because you guys have the you know, our commitment to quality is similar, I think, to yours. Your ethos and how you build, and you have this great network through Acoustic, and you can do the whole production line of, you know, of pressing and printing and distribution and promotion and the shop and everything, and I can just get back into doing the studio stuff that I love. So and even going forward, you know, we hope to come out to Blue Haven and make records with you there in Salina, and just like take this like how can we take this product to the next level? And you know, there isn't another next level I could think of than you know.
Well, no, I mean, like, to me, it just makes a lot of sense. So you do what you do, and we'll do what we do, and it allows you to have more to concentrate on what you like, and we'll handle the rest. But so like the Newvelle jazz, like, is there, you know, a certain style of jazz or certain style you'd like to record? Is it, you know, smaller bands? Is it more avant-garde? Like just talk about, like.
I mean, I do think we have a sound, like at this point, you know, we're 50 records in about, so
How many?
About 50. I think we're at 40.
Wow.
So we have a sound, I think, both the sound that Mark Arcelli has captured in the studio and like a conceptually a music sound. I think each season, you know, as I do a year, like it starts to cohere as to like what the sort of the thematic sound of that year is as I put these together.
So talk about some of the artists you've recorded, maybe, and you know, and I want you to talk about the New Orleans collection and things like that.
Yeah. Let me give a little bit about the some of the people we worked with. So I started off with Jack DeJohnette, you know, came into the solo thing, and Frank Kimbrough. That was our first season.
Is that record still available?
I think we have a couple. If we do, we have like barely any, and that's this first season.
That's okay. Now that you said that, man.
Yeah, people are gonna be excited. They're available somewhere. I might have a handful. Our first 2 seasons, actually our first 3 seasons, these are mostly sold. These are pretty much sold out. We did a great John Patitucci record. We did the first Skúli Sverrisson Bill Frisell record that we did was a big hit. We repressed that one, so we have copies of that available. Working with Bill Frisell, I've done 4 records with Bill as like a sideman on 4 different records. The 4th one's coming out in August. It's another duo with Skúli Sverrisson. So Bill, like a couple of these people, like Patitucci's another one, that just sort of saw what we were doing and sort of became like godfathers to the label. Just said like, I see what you're doing. You know, we like it. You know, like let's get involved. And by getting involved, they like really like meant a lot to the records. Our 5th season, we had this beautiful record with Rufus Reid and Sullivan Fortner to lead that one off. It's a duo record. One of my favorite things we've done. Sullivan just won a Grammy this year for jazz artist. The jazz artist, best jazz album, I think, and best jazz performance. Sullivan's the greatest living jazz pianist, according to pretty much everyone. And to have him to play duo with Rufus and to show such respect and such. Rufus is a Titanic bass player, so that record is really near and dear to my heart. And then in 2020, right before the pandemic, we went down to New Orleans with my friend Ben Chase, who's helping to produce those. And we did some records at Esplanade Studio. We did an Irma Thomas record, which we still have some copies left. We pressed extras of those. Let me show that off. This beautiful photography by Damon Gardner. I don't know if you see that. These records really came out beautifully. And I'm super proud of that Irma Thomas record. Little Freddie King did a record. Then Ellis Marsalis did his very last record. He passed away, sadly, of COVID just a couple weeks later. But he did it mostly solo, in duo with his son Jason on Vibes. His granddaughter's on one track. That record breaks my heart, and it's just such a testament. And then Little Freddie King came back recently. We did another record with him. I brought back Damon Gardner, who I think is an amazing photographer, to get that crazy shot. He did a record called Things I Used to Do. He had never done, I mean, Little Freddie King's a legend in New Orleans, you know him well. He's not so well known outside, not known the way he should be known outside of New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm gonna sing you back, darling. Lord, and I'm going back to my family too.
This record's also, there's a couple of solo tracks, most of it's duo just with his bassist, Paul DeFiglia, who's also on the first record, and with a little bit of harmonica by Bobby DiTullio. And it's just like this killer front, they call it like a front porch record, like just like what you hear if you just like stop.
Wacko Wade's not on it?
Wacko is not on it, but he was standing right next to.
Oh, really?
The whole time.
he got that New Orleans all the way, man. He got the accent. And was he on the first one?
He's got the first one. Wacko's on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
my favorite shots too.
Well, I traveled back a couple days ago from Tennessee, and on the United flight they had the movie that Rob Reiner was in, Spinal Tap 2. And it was filmed in New Orleans.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was filmed in New Orleans. Well, I didn't either, but I mean, you know, of course, it's easy to recognize. And Freddie King's in it.
Really?
Yeah, they're walking down like Bourbon Street or Royal or something in the quarter, and you hear the blues before you see them.
Yeah.
And man, I'm on a plane, so it wasn't real clear, but man, I'm like, man, that's some good sound. Man, that's some good blues. And then they right on little Freddie King. There was a lot of little moments during that.
He's the cinematic. I mean, he was in like a Beyonce, that Lemonade, one of the Beyonce videos.
Oh no, kid! I love the way he dresses.
Yeah, I mean, he is the sharpest looking man alive.
Yeah, we've had him play at our blues festival in Salina, and somebody was interviewing him in New Orleans, and I think you heard the story where he lifts his shirt and shows like 6 bullet holes in his stomach.
I'm very familiar.
So the interviewer asked him something like, well, man, how did that happen? You know, and who did it? He goes, I made my wife mad one day. My wife did. He goes, oh, well, you got rid of her. Like, he's like, no, she's in the other room. That was years ago. I deserve. I
had it coming.
Yeah, I had it coming. I mean, you know, talk about blues, man.
Yeah. He's
great. And hey, man, there's very few people. You know, Buddy Guy's still living. He's from Louisiana. Little Freddie King is in New Orleans. There's another guy named Alabama Slim that plays in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
He is unbelievable, man. Real tall. He's the closest thing to. He's spooky, man. He's so spooky good. But no, I remember when you recorded all this. It was right during COVID, and New Orleans was like one of the hardest hit towns. Which I know the Mardi Gras just happened, so it might have had something to do with Mardi Gras, but I was there right after and didn't. Anyway, I was
probably in the studio while you were there. Yeah, which is crazy. So this is like February 2020 is when we did that whole series of records. We did a John Cleary record also.
John Cleary, yeah, well, he's a legend. So you still have those, right?
We have, the Ellis we have a bunch of, and the Irma, because we pressed extra of those. The Cleary's sold out, and Little Freddie King, I think there's like 6 copies. So like we can make those.
Well, man, we're gonna have to talk about
we can press those or
we have to start talking about making some more records, and
I'm excited about. So the series that's out right now is like how we're kicking off this collaboration. There's five records. The first one, this is a whole series here. The first one is a Martin Wind record with Kenny Barron on piano, Anat Cohen and Matt Wilson. That's this one here. And then we did an Ingrid Jensen record with Gary Versace and Marvin Sewell and John Wickham. My record is coming out with like crazy band, Loren Stillman, Scott Robinson, Ben Monder, Tony Scher, Francisco Mail, and Matt Wilson. We have a Loren Stillman with Craig Taborn and Thomas Morgan, and the Skúli Sverrisson record. So we're starting this all as a set. This is Skúli Sverrisson duo with Bill Frisell. Be out in August. One of the things that's really amazing about this, we're working with this artist, Ragnar Kjartansson. He does these like gorgeous landscapes, and these are unique for this, which he let us use. And we take like a little fragment of that landscape here. We put it on the cover with these like beautiful, beautiful prints of it. Ragnar, for people that don't know, Ragnar Kjartansson, he's Icelandic. he's actually friends with Skúli, which is how we made the connection. But he's around my age, I guess. But he's like one of the great contemporary artists of our time. Guardian did this 25 best artworks of the century, and he was #1 on that list. So like, it's really a collector's item just to have these covers and interiors. They really like are really stunning. We just the Stoughton did the printing. They're the best in the business for that.
Does he do? Have you used him on all of the Newvelle or just this series?
No, Kjartansson definitely not. I also just want to show off the vinyl that you guys pressed.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, dude, they look so good. So every time we do a collection, we work with a different artist, basically. So each one of these, and again, it's people do it because they like the project. They like the idea of doing a series. I give them a really big canvas. You know, if I go up to like the very first season we did was Bernard Plossu, who's this very famous and wonderful French photographer. And I'm like, man, we need 13 images, and I will give the entire interior of the gatefold, right? So the single pocket to just the artwork, the whole cover and the artwork. We'll only put the name like of the artist just in tiny print at the bottom. So I'm giving like this big space of canvas because that's what's beautiful about vinyl. You have all this space. I don't understand it. Sometimes people they put out something on vinyl and they just use like a snapshot, you know. I'm just like, well, we have the canvas, you know, you have this beautiful space. Like you gotta use it. And then I use the back to like really put the artist's names really big so they feel better. But it's really like, I think that's the secret in terms of working with all these sort of amazing visual artists over every year. So every collection we work with a new photographer, a new painter, new visual artist.
You have a real look, you know, and a real sound, and you know what you want, you know, to look like and sound like. You got a unique jazz label.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm really excited for this collaboration and working together and like finding out how to like really connect our strengths and build something here.
Yeah, no, I mean, you keep doing what you're doing. The other thing that will be new is you using our studio to record, which the church is just so good. I mean, it's good for any music, but especially acoustic music like classical and jazz and blues, you know, few instruments. You know, when you record in the church, our church, the church was built before there was microphones and amplifiers, you know what I mean? So right. When you're talking in the church, you can be in the balcony in the last seat and you can hear my voice. Say, well, everybody can hear your voice. Well, you can hear, hear the preacher's voice. Yeah. And I mean, when a sax plays in the church, I mean, anything, it's drums, the sound is amazing. And we love it when we can cut a record and not have to mess with it. Like you just transfer what's on the tape. And almost everything we do in the church like needs nothing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Or little or nothing. And so, you know, to be able to do all your recordings here, have us record, master, plate, do everything right in Salina, and then get the great acoustics of the church and all our vintage mics and all our reel-to-reel tape machines. You know, might do direct disc maybe. We can do, we could also record a lot of master tapes at one time. I mean, yeah. we can we'll have some fun.
Yeah, that aspect of it is super exciting, right? And like, and what we can do with like direct to disc and extra tapes, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Is there anything else you want to mention, or?
No, just thanks. I think it's such a natural fit. It's such a delight to be working with you. I can't wait to get out there and tour the space and get started on what comes next. I'm really excited for these new records. Check out my new record, comes out the 27th.
All right. Well, yeah, we're looking forward. We're looking forward to showing you the studio, and then thanks for coming on. And let's get to work.
Let's do it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care.